Welcome to Detroit Prepping. Outlaw Bob Barker, how are you, man? Uh, it's going pretty good so far. Sitting in the house doing a bunch of nothing. Hey, Lone Star, what's going on, brother? 12B, welcome. Well, cheers to that. So, I just wanted to come on a little bit and give everybody an update of what's going on here in Michigan. Um, Michigan and Louisiana are battling daily for the highest confirmed case counts in the U.S. right now. We once again took third place today. Um, I believe in Michigan, last I checked, there was 17,221 cases. Or I'm sorry, 17,221 cases. Those are confirmed cases. And the number seems to be going up pretty rapidly. My last live chat, I think we were at about 7,000. So we've added over 100% in, I don't know exactly what day I did the live chat last time, but that's where we are right now. A little closer to home in the actual city of Detroit proper, there are 5,023 confirmed cases in the city of Detroit. We we're leading the way. We're not New York. We're not New Jersey yet, but we are surely on our way. From what I can see, social distancing is one of those things I think in Michigan is going to be really hard to achieve because you have to realize we've already been locked up in our houses for 3, 4 months waiting for winter to pass. Um, April is usually a time of barbecue, block parties. Um, it's it's our rebirth almost once the snow finally goes away. And I will say it has slowed down, but it's definitely not ended in Detroit. I watched several local news broadcasts about parties being broken up at public parks, barbecue parties, basketball parties. They've gone so far as to start taking down the rims and place concrete barriers at the entrances and even on the sidewalks encircling the parks because even if the parking lot is blocked off, they'll drive over the curb in the grass and park anyway. So they've been encapsulating public spaces. Um, it's Hey, Zombie Farmer, how are you? Thanks for stopping by, man. It's uh it's a weird situation right now. Like I said, we've already in Michigan been cooped up in our houses for the most part for 4 months, and to ask us to give 2 months of our only 3 to 4 month long summer sitting in the house is going to be a monumental task for the city officials to impose upon us. I think they're going to have their hands full with that, and I think it's already obvious that they're running into some problems. Um, Another strange thing: dirt bikes and four wheelers are the new terror of the city. I've seen groups as large as maybe 20, 30 vehicles riding around day, night, middle of the night through what everybody knows. I'm sure the city of Detroit has plenty of open fields, and that's where they tend to congregate, and they're they're having a good old time, and the police, I guess, would seem all but powerless to stop them. Um, as far as deaths in Michigan, we are at 727 deaths. Um, you know, all those numbers could be low, could be high. I've heard they're counting people that died from stubbing their toe from the coronavirus. I heard people are dying so fast that they don't even have a chance to test them. So that's what they're reporting officially. I don't have any other information, higher, lower, anything like that. Um, an interesting statistic on the website for the state of Michigan is that of all the confirmed cases, only 5 people have recovered in Michigan. Um, I don't understand it. I don't even know how that could be. Does that mean right now, today, we are still waiting on the results of 14,500 people that are just in limbo in the hospital waiting to be sent home or sent to the morgue? I find that hard to believe. And if we're only at the point in which 5 people could have recovered and we have that many confirmed cases and that many deaths, I mean, it's not looking good. I mean, you're talking about by the middle of the month having 7,000 dead in Michigan at that rate. So I don't know if we can go with that 5 recovered in Michigan, but that's what they're reporting. Thank you, Zombie Farmer, for the prayers, brother. I hope you and your tribe are staying safe. And what do we make of all of this? I couldn't even tell you. Raymond 11. Well, I don't know, Raymond 11, if you've got some info we don't have as to how to avoid paying taxes and remain a free man. But we've already paid for it, and they're going to start billing our kids here anytime now. I mean, $2.2 trillion, and we get the point two, the 327 million that actually could use a help, could use a hand at this point to maintain what little they have. It's another crime that was committed against us that I don't know how we punish those responsible for it. Minnesota Prepper, what's going on? Some observations I've made in the past couple of days. I haven't gone into the store in probably a week until yesterday, and it was the first time at the large bulk food retailers, Sam's Club, Costco, places like that. I saw them actually lining people up. And when I say lining people up, they had people stretched around the building, across the parking lot, and then back around the parking lot. I mean, I'm going to estimate here. So how far off I am, I couldn't truly tell you, but there were 500 people in line. And if there were 500 people in line, there were probably more than 500 people in line. And they were allowing 6 people into the store until 6 people came out. Most of the people in line wouldn't talk to me. I didn't exit my vehicle. I kind of rolled the window down and, hey, buddy. And I actually did get one gentleman to talk to me. And he told me that they started lining up at 6 in the morning. He personally started lining up there at 6 in the morning. The store doesn't open till 10. And he was number 15 in line originally. And when I drove by, it was noon, and he was the third person in line waiting to go in still. So in 2 hours, they processed 12 people. I mean, you could see the frustration on people's faces. You could see the the body language, the aggravation, the the fear in people's face. Hey, Philip Turner. Um, and whether this is a weapon, a deadly virus, an accident, whatever it could possibly be, the reality of it for me right now is what I can see in my 10 miles. And I see a lot of scared faces. I see a lot of um our cabin in the woods. Hey there, how are you? I see a lot of people that we're not ready for this. We'll not be able to get ready for what's coming after this. And for all the news conferences I hear and all the reassurances that the supply chain is uninterrupted, the trucks are traveling, what I see in the store when I do make it in there, because that day I decided not to try to get into the Sam's Club or get into any of the big bulk places like that. I just went to our regular neighborhood Kroger. And it is actually, I believe, the largest Kroger in Michigan. And it was the same story I've been telling for 30 days now. I mean, the pasta shelves are empty. Um, the canned goods are empty. The bread is sparse. I mean, there was probably, 4 or 5 trays of bread, and you had white bread, wheat bread, and more wheat bread. That there wasn't hamburger buns and hot dog buns and crescent rolls and submarine sandwich rolls and all of that stuff that you would normally see. Hey, Ridge Life, how are you? Welcome to the chat. Kyle, how are you? So that's what's going on in Detroit. Nobody nobody was wearing masks. Very few people were wearing gloves. Um, I've noticed the last couple of times I did venture into the Kroger store, the sanitizing wipes were completely out of stock for wiping the cart off at the front door. They have the most recent I went yesterday. They had, or I'm sorry, I went on Sunday. They had a woman standing at the entrance with a spray bottle of some form of disinfectant and a roll of brown paper towels. And as you would come in, she would actually offer to wipe the cart off that you were grabbing, or you could ask her. Well, I asked her, could I have the towel that she had just made, and she gave it to me. But not a lot of fear I see of catching the virus. The fear I'm seeing right now is when are they going to fix this grocery store? And there were mothers with children there, small children, infants, still in car seats. Moseying around the store, no face masks on or anything. And you know, I I don't have a problem with how anybody wants to go into the store. I personally go in the store without a face mask or any eye protection, anything like that. But it was a wake up call to me that no one is afraid of the virus. People are afraid of what they can see in front of them, the empty shelf, the long lines to get in these places, and then you're coming out with half of what you think you need. And with the latest couple of news broadcasts I've watched that are from our local news stations, they're encouraging people to buy enough for 2 weeks. And I mean, how do you go in there and buy enough for 2 weeks when you can only buy one box of cereal? You can only buy 1 gallon of milk. I mean, my family alone is 6 people. I've got 2 teenagers that drink more milk than a cow could make in a day. I've got, a 8-year-old that drinks milk as well. I mean, the newborn baby, that's all he drinks. Granted, it's mother's milk, but she's got to drink something to make the milk. So a gallon of milk to last the family 2 weeks. That's impossible. I don't think they've got this quite figured out, and I hope they don't jump the gun on this and start imposing things that are going to make it so hard for people to even get groceries that they'll feel they have no chance except to rush the store. I mean, you have 500, 1,000 people lined up in the parking lot. I don't care if you have 100 police officers. That fear and worry in those people's eyes is going to translate into, I'm either going to die here trying to get some food, or I'm going to die at home without any food. And a lot of those people are not going to be able to let their child starve to death without making that effort. And if that effort means kicking the front door in and taking what they can, I think we'll start seeing that. I mean, not because it needs to be done that way, but because of the situation they're creating. I mean, this place is a fucking million square feet, and you're telling me only 6 people can go in there at a time, and then all 6 of those people got to come out before 6 more can go in. It's ridiculous. It's not even. I mean, whoever is in charge of that should be held criminal, or should be held criminally liable if something like that does happen. I mean, there's no reason, there's no rhyme for it. Um, Food Forest, how are you? Eric, hey, what's going on, man? I'm glad you made it, late or not. Um, oh man, oh man, I'm glad you showed up. I'd like to take a minute here to thank you for the tremendous gift. My cup reads, "There comes a time when a man must spit on his hands, hoist the black flag, and begin to split throats." Ranger up. And I am going to actually christen that cup right this moment with my shit hit the fan stock of about the cheapest plastic bottle liquor you can buy here. I can't even pronounce the name of it, but this is what I'm going to be drinking as long as I'm bunkered in, and I'll be drinking it from the Skull and Crossbones. So, ooh, man, thank you. I appreciate it greatly. And here's the Armageddon. Yep, that tasted like it cost about $10. Whew. Hey, real world prepper, how are you, brother? I can't wait till I get my teeth replaced, man. I can't even hardly say anybody's name. All right, ooh, man. Gratitude, man. I am glad you made it. I am glad. So, yeah, that's what's been going on here in Detroit. I think we're going to be in for a pretty rude awakening here as it gets a little bit warmer every day. I mean, we've had some absolute beautiful weather. April's usually a pretty rough month for us here in Michigan, and that has not been the case. Um, and just the amount of people I see out and about, you know, good for them. They, in my opinion, they have every right to go wherever the fuck they want to go. Um, I personally am beholden to my wife and the new baby in the house, so there are certain precautions I have to take. And though I do travel out and go places, I try to limit my exposure or possibility of exposure. But there's no way they're going to be able to keep us locked up for another 2 months here in Michigan. And what are we going to do about jobs? I mean, what are people going to do about their mortgages? I don't know how they can expect us to stay in the house and survive when they've created a system in which most of us have to live paycheck to paycheck and don't have $10,000 in the bank to pay their bills and pay for food and everything else. And they're going to send a $1,200 stimulus check maybe to some people. I mean, that's not even a rent payment in most places in the city of Detroit, let alone in the suburbs of Detroit. I mean, it's it's a disaster waiting to happen, and I don't know what to make of it myself, and I don't know how so many people can make so light of the situation that we're falling into. I understand not being afraid of the virus. Like I said, that doesn't scare me. I know how to wash my hands. I know how to turn and walk away from somebody that's coughing up a lung. I know how to, not put my hand in my mouth after I just, touch the nasty ass gas pump handle. We all know how to do that stuff. We've lived our whole lives doing those kind of things. And, you know, to be so afraid of something that, yes, can kill you and kill the ones you love, that you're basically committing suicide by locking yourself in the house is it's just an amazing thing to me. It's something I never thought I'd see in America, and I never thought I'd see such support for what is going on. And I mean, it almost makes me feel like, how tough can we really be if we're willing to basically sit in our homes and starve to death in the dark instead of go out and take our chances in the world around us? I mean, let me die on my feet, not on my knees. I mean, I don't know if hey Kaz, what's going on? Yeah, but I mean, I don't know if what they're asking us to do is even sustainable for 30 days, and we're already 30 days into it. I mean, I am a landlord. I depend upon my renters paying their rent so that I can pay my utility bills. I can pay my car insurance and put gas in it and feed my kids and my wife. Well, since this has started already, I've got two people that, hey, they didn't have April's payment, and in theory they didn't stop work until March 17th. So in 13 days they went from having been able to pay their rent on time for the past 2 years plus to, shit, I got some of your rent money, not even half of it, but I'm off work now and I won't have it next month. And even if I went back to work, I wouldn't have it the month after that because my car insurance is going to expire because I can't pay it. And now I got a shut off notice at your rental house for the utilities that I can't afford to pay. And, they're saying we're not going to shut your power off during this. Okay. Well, what happens 60 days in now? You've been running up a bill. You haven't made a penny. And now it's due in 30 days. How is, the system right now is absolutely its greatest enemy. The plans they have, the advice they're giving. I know I probably say it every time I make a video, but it's criminal. It's an absolute crime that they're doing this, and the sooner we're able to hold them responsible, the sooner we'll be able to get back to living our lives. And at the rate we're going, we might lose half of the workforce just to companies not opening again. Who's going to want to go sit in a restaurant after all of this? Who's going to want to go sit in a movie theater after all of this? I mean, especially in Michigan, where we don't have a lot of outdoor activities for 8 months of the year. That's where we go. We go to bars, we go to restaurants, we go to indoor arcades, we go to indoor everything. And who's going to want to go to that now? They're going to have people so programmed to avoid those things. They're literally going to destroy the income base of every major city for sure. I mean, all these companies that are letting people work from home, fine. What's the benefit of bringing them back and paying all that rent on these gigantic towers they have downtown? Gas, electric, parking, everything else that these places got to have. Once they get a taste of how they can make this work long term, so many people are going to have nothing to do because we can't all work on our computers. Trust me, it's an impossibility. Somebody has to shovel the coal into the steam plant to keep the turbine spinning, and they're running us out of jobs and out of money. And anybody that's excited about a $1,200 check, it's going to come along with so many strings attached to it that it's going to cost you $2,400 just to cash the check. It's out of control. Hey, Jim Beer, Mrs. Mel, how are you? Yeah, you said it, Philip Turner. Somebody's got to clean out the septic tanks. But before I get going crazy off the wall here with what's been racking my brain lately, um, so the banking issue started in September. They decided they didn't want to pass their money back and forth between each other anymore, and it was too risky. So October, November, December, I've heard all different stories about when we started hearing about this virus, how it lines up with the Chinese New Year, so on and so forth, and everything else. I can go with a lot of that stuff, but there's got to be a purpose to it if it was done by somebody. And you know, they they whoever they is released this virus as a test, not to kill everybody, not to wipe out the population, but as a test to see how communicable this type of virus would be. So they unleash it, they let it go around, they clamp it all down, try to halt the spread or stop the spread or gauge the spread, whatever they're trying to do now, flatten curves. But how do they get the data? How do they find out how virulent it was, what the contraction rate was, or how many people in the world ended up with the disease in a 90-day period as they ran this test or whatever? I mean, from everything I hear them saying at these press conferences, they basically want to test everybody for the antibody to find out how many people have it. So if they're doing that kind of testing, they have to keep some kind of files. So what do? They attach your social security number to it, possibly a DNA sample for all we know. Um, and then they got their hard data. Hey, all right, so we let this shit go. We sent 25 people out, blah blah blah. 90 days later, we locked everything down, tested everybody. 35% of the world got it in 90 days. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but with how hard they're pushing for this test for the antibody, I uh, I don't think I'd be surprised to find out 7 years from now, 20 years from now, whatever the case is, that yep, that's what happened. Sorry, you have no right to sue us or recover any damages, but Now we know. Um, but that's about it. I appreciate everybody stopping by. Um, Stay safe, pay attention, um, and hey, I mean, as prepared as I think I am, I still travel outside the home to hopefully make myself ever more prepared for what could happen. Um, right now, I'm going to keep going with everything will probably be back to normal by Thursday, but I think this is the fifth or sixth Thursday I've been saying that, so don't hold your breath. Um, Guns coast to coast. What's up, man? I'm glad you made it. Ooh, man, I think that's spot on there, brother. If you if you're telling yourself you're ready, buddy, you ain't ready. So with that, I'm gonna thank everybody again for stopping by. I appreciate everybody, and I'll make sure to keep you guys informed as to what's going on in the great city of Detroit. Have a good night.